everybody, and welcome to this special on transit Chiron in Aries. I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the sun and the moon, are any given time in the sky, and all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So when Chiron is transiting in Aries, it's sort of like the universe is giving us a superhero person cape to heal our deepest wounds and become the badass version of ourselves that we were always meant to be. So this year, Chiron goes into Aries on the 3rd of March at 11:55 am until the 30th of July at 3:42 p.m. All times are in GMT time. And then Chiron goes retrograde while still in Aries on the 30th of July at 3:42 until the 31st of October, when Chiron enters Pisces while still retrograde. So positively, Chiron transit in Aries is all about living up our self-identity and personal power. It's like getting a makeover for our soul. So positively, we should unleash our inner warrior, find the courage to face our fears and challenges, our problems head on. Be open to our uniqueness. It's time to celebrate what makes you. Healing through action, so taking charge of your healing journey becomes your superpower. So looking up tools or continuing to use tools and spiritual and other practices to look after your emotional, spiritual and psychological health. Discover your hidden strength, uncovering abilities you never knew you had, and talents too. It basically gives us the permission to be ourselves unapologetically. And the best use of this energy is healing old wounds that have been holding you back from shining your brightest and being your authentic self. So think of it as cosmic self-care on steroids, So with every transit there's a shadow side, right? So the negatives of this energy, because it isn't always smooth sailing, because sometimes transiting Chiron in Aries can just feel like ripping off our emotional band-aid, really hard, and this can lead to impulsive reactions. Our emotions might feel like they're on fire sometimes. Old wounds may come up and it can feel intense and overwhelming. We can overcompensate. We may go overboard trying to prove ourselves, We can be impatient with the healing process. Remember that growth takes time, and just remember that the challenges that come up right now are just part of the journey to becoming your most authentic self. So the best use of this energy is to embrace who you are, embrace your story, own your narrative. Your past doesn't define you, but it can empower you. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself as you navigate this healing journey. Take bold action, Use the Aries energy to go after your passions fearlessly. Help others heal as you work through your experiences and share your story. Your experiences and you overcoming them can be a light for others on their path. So yeah, on some level you're not just healing yourself, you can become a symbol, beacon of hope for others, and it's an invitation to turn your pain into purpose and your wounds into wisdom, basically. So that was the summary version. So now I'm going to go in depth about all things transit Chiron in Aries. So first I'm going to talk about the positive practical application. How can we positively use this energy day to day while Chiron is transit in Aries? So it encourages us to take bold, courageous, steps towards healing our past emotional, psychological and spiritual wounds, supporting personal growth and self-improvement. It wants us to become, and it motivates us to be more empowered in our acts and in our words, to confront health issues with a proactive approach, creating a sense of independence and self-reliance and building our self-respect, forgiveness, love, care, awareness and understanding. Negatively, we can be impulsive, we can rush through actions without, considering them, and this can cause unintended harm to ourselves and others. So make sure you think about the consequences and make a strategic step-by-step plan for all you want to do. And because our old wounds can be reopened, it can stir up old injuries, and we have to navigate this carefully to avoid further trauma, because a lot of the time we numb ourselves to our problems, but this isn't the answer, because this can develop more problems, right? So try and take a proactive, gentle approach to dealing with your vulnerabilities and any psychological, spiritual and emotional trauma that comes up. So in terms of the financial meanings, it encourages us to take calculated risks that can lead to, significant big financial gains. It develops an environment where we may feel more empowered to go after new business ideas with confidence. So it's a good time to start that content channel, podcast, that side hustle, whatever it is, but negatively, because we can be a bit emotional right now, we can sort of like make hasty financial decisions without considering the long-term consequences. So don't do that. Make sure you get advice if need be. Make sure you do your research, and we can be aggressive in our investments as well. And then this can frustrate us when our investments do not bring the return that we expected, so don't gamble, don't invest more than you can afford to lose right now. Politically, leaders can become more decisive and capable of implementing changes to heal societal wounds, deal with addiction, mental health problems and inequality problems. It encourages confronting conflicts with focus and action, and this can lead to effective resolutions, so good energy for all types of conflict resolution. But negatively, leaders can implement aggressive policies that are overly, restrictive and don't take into account the holistic needs of everybody in the nation, and people can, kind of speak out against this, and this can escalate conflict and tension rather than resolving them in our communities, in our nations, and there can just be confrontations amongst leaders without considering, peaceful diplomatic solutions, because everybody's focused on action rather than taking time out and considering options carefully. In terms of the materialistic social implications, positively, the focus on personal health and wellness encourages us to prioritize self-care and personal development and self-love and stuff like that. It wants us to, be our authentic self and be unique and be, expressive in our personal styles and celebrate individuality. But negatively, this me first attitude mentality can lead to us to focus on ourselves too much at the expense of the community, our family and our lovers and stuff like that. And this can create a more isolated society, and the increased emphasis on personal projects and trends may lead to excessive consumerism or overspending, so we have to watch out for that. Psychologically, it creates a sense of self-acceptance and confidence, wanting us to understand ourselves. It gives us the courage to face and heal our old emotional, psychological and spiritual wounds. It encourages us to take charge of our healing journey and move past limitations and become more empowered, But negatively, the fear of vulnerability and not wanting to get outside of our comfort zone and habits can cause us to hide our true self and numb ourselves from it through intoxicating substances. Self-doubt and inadequacy, us not feeling like we're good enough, can cause us issues when we're asserting ourselves, and we can just be impatient with the healing process as well, and this can cause frustration. Spiritually, It guides us towards deep healing, helping us to release old patterns and embrace our true nature. It gives us the spiritual courage to confront our spiritual wounds and create a deeper connection with our higher self. It makes us more compassionate and empathetic to ourselves and others, giving us a bridge between personal and collective healing, and it gives us the ability to help others and to heal others and understand them too. But negatively, there's a risk of avoiding deep emotional work. By focusing solely on spiritual practices, we can feel disconnected from our spiritual path if we resist the healing process, and again, we may just have resistance to change, we may resist the necessary changes to our spiritual journey and practice as well, which is not good. We must be open to change, On the esoteric hidden meaning level, it gives us chance for release of our self-destructive ways, our thoughts, our toxic relationships, and anything else that's holding us back. It leads to our personal liberation and freedom. It helps us connect with our divine spark, creating a sense of purpose and meaning. It gives us, mystical insights, deepening our understanding of the universe and the place in it. Negatively, hidden fears or phobias may come up, and this requires us to acknowledge and heal them. We can just have a resistance to truth about ourselves and our path, and this can get in the way of esoteric growth. And there can just be a risk of ego inflation, where spiritual insights might be misused for personal gain. In terms of the symbolic creative meanings, it wants us to use creative expression as a form of healing, helping us to channel our emotions into art and other creative outlets like singing, dancing, designing, whatever. And it also symbolically represents the hero's journey, where we rise from challenges stronger and wiser. It sparks innovation, new ideas and approaches to problem solving, creating creativity and progress, by being open to new solutions to our problems and new ideas to do our creative work and stuff like that, and new ideas to heal ourselves as well. But negatively, creative blocks can get in the way if we're resistant to facing our wounds. So, be open to facing your problems and using creativity to maneuver it. The more you face your problems, the more creative you can become, and I can vouch for that. There's a risk of repeating destructive patterns in your creative or personal life, and the Aries energy can lead to impulsive decisions in our creative plans as well. In terms of the emotional meanings, Chiron in Aries helps us build emotional resilience, enabling us to handle challenges with strength and grace. It encourages us to be our authentic self, creating emotional honesty and integrity. It opens our heart to compassion and empathy, deepening our emotional connection to ourselves and others, helps us do that inner work and that shadow work, right? But negatively, because it can bring up emotional pain, it can just make us feel overwhelmed, We can suffer with anger issues and struggle with frustration, especially if we're not confronting our emotional needs, and there can just be a risk of feeling isolated and misunderstood if we're not open to healing and connection, Now, I'm going to talk about the aspects that are influencing transit Chiron as it goes into Aries this year. So first we've got the moon making a square to Chiron, and this is separating, but it helps us with our emotional awareness, helping us to tune deeper into our deeper wounds related to our sense of self. Our emotions are being guided by this energy to confront and heal old hurts, and anything that's messed with our sense of self, our esteem, from our childhood, from past relationships. it really supports us in working through all of this, but negatively it can add to us feeling emotionally raw and defensive, and it can just make us feel extra sensitive. Mercury also makes a conjunction to Chiron, and this is applying, so this allows us to have our communication as a superpower, helping us to express our wounds in a way that heals to ourselves and others, whether it's through talking, writing or art. It's like our voice is our therapy. But negatively, overthinking, making us overthink on our pain. It's like our mind is stuck on repeat, but remember to hit pause. Jupiter makes a sextile to Chiron, so this offers a broader perspective on our healing journey, helping us find meaning and purpose in our pain. It's like seeing the big picture. It helps us to see and plan for our future and allows us to have hope for a better future for ourselves. But negatively, it can add to us avoiding our inner work, avoiding looking into the depth of our wounds, because it can be scary and it brings us outside of our comfort zone. So we just have to keep it real with ourselves and balance, and make sure that we look after our emotional and psychological health, but have fun and stuff as well. Don't spend all your time just healing and stuff. Have fun as well, give yourself some relaxation time. Chiron also makes a semi-sextile to the moon's north node. So this allows us to, work towards our positive change, and align with our highest potential. But negatively, because the push is such a gentle, it's a semi-sextile, it's more of an inward energy, we may not notice it, so we just have to stay tuned to our inner voice for direction and work with ourselves and removing all the things that, distract us or stop us from being able to hear our inner voice. Chiron makes a quincunx to the south node, so it helps us to release old patterns and let go of habits that no longer serve us, and reminding us it's time for a fresh start. Negatively, we can just feel stuck between, our old ways, staying in our comfort zone, and the new ways of dealing with pain, but keep moving forward even if it feels a bit tricky and unnerving and uncomfortable. Neptune makes a sextile to Pluto as well, which is ongoing, and this just helps us to be spiritual and be open to transformation and change, and dive deep into the depths of our soul and do that shadow work as well. But negatively, it can add to us wanting to escape from reality instead of facing our wounds as well. So we just have to stay grounded and focus on our healing, remembering that healing isn't linear, and help ourselves be open to more emotional awareness and love and growth and communicating our issues to ourselves. Also, at the time of Chiron going into Aries, there's a 4-point stellium in Pisces between Venus, Saturn, Neptune and the moon's north node. So again, it allows us to have more compassion and empathy for ourselves and others. It encourages us to explore the emotional underpinnings, meanings of our wounds, helping us understand the deeper layers of ourselves and our ego and any confidence issues as well. And it allows us to have a more gentle approach to healing, and it guides us to connect with our healing journey, and through spiritual practices helps us develop a sense of divine guidance and support in the process as well. But it really also allows us, Venus in Pisces allows us to be loving and compassionate to ourselves, and we can find it easier to approach our own problems and others' problems with kindness and understanding. Saturn in Pisces allows us to take accountability for our healing journey and be more mature in our approach to it. Neptune in Pisces increases our intuition, allowing us to use spiritual wisdom and connect with the collective unconscious, and the moon's north node in Pisces helps us get direction in our healing journey, So ultimately It allows us to, heal through art and spirituality, but we just need to, be aware of spiritually escaping from our problems. We have to remember to confront our issues clearly and maintain healthy limits in our relationships as well. So now I'm going to talk about the karmic meanings and lessons of Chiron in Aries. So ultimately the karmic lesson is, healing our deep-seated wounds that we avoid, especially those related to our sense of self and identity. It invites us to confront and transform old patterns of feeling inadequate or unimportant, pushing us to embrace our true selves without fear. The key lesson here is of balance, learning to assert yourself confidently without succumbing to aggressive or passive aggression, respecting other people's boundaries while enforcing your own, allowing others to do the same as well. It's about finding the courage to be who we truly are unapologetically. In terms of the past life memories and dreams that may come up, we may recall past lives where we were a warrior, where the battlefield was either literal or metaphorical. These memories could highlight moments of struggle for recognition or survival, where you had to fight for your place in the world. Alternatively, you may feel like an outcast, isolated or misunderstood, perhaps in a community where you didn't fit in. These memories can serve as a reminder of the resilience and strength you've carried through lifetimes. On a collective level, Chiron in Aries sheds light on societal wounds around aggression, competition and suppression, the repression of individuality. It challenges us to confront how we handle leadership and power, whether through domination or empowerment. It encourages a shift, a change towards a more balanced approach to leadership and power, where individuality is celebrated and leadership is about uplifting others rather than controlling them. So in terms of practical steps for healing, we should consider practices that boost our self-esteem and awareness, such as affirmations or setting personal goals that empower you, engaging in physical activities that create a sense of strength and empowerment, reflect on past hurts through journaling can provide insights into patterns that need healing. Remember, this is a time to take charge of your healing journey, becoming your own healer and being open to your true self. Now I'm going to talk about how Chiron in Aries affects all different types of relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, it gives us a chance to heal family problems, especially around the themes of independence and self-worth and everybody having an equal say and voice. It's a time to confront past hurts and move toward understanding and forgiveness. It encourages us to establish healthy boundaries within our family, supporting mutual respect and identity. It reminds us to be open to being authentic and expressing our true self with our family, leading to deeper, more authentic connections. But negatively, family members might resist the need for independence, leading to potential conflicts and misunderstandings, because a lot of the time people don't like change, right? They want us to stay the same. So sometimes you just have to go at it alone, knowing that your family may not accept who you are authentically, but you can accept who you are authentically. And this doesn't mean you can't be around them, but it probably does mean that you just have to change your perspective rather than wanting their approval. Give it to yourself. It can also bring up unresolved wounds, so it's important to confront them constructively rather than letting them fester and linger, and this can just cause explosive, aggressive outbursts, and we can just be more competitive within the family, causing tension if not managed with empathy and understanding. In terms of our friendship relationships, it encourages us to form friendships based on mutual respect and authenticity, where each person can shine without feeling overshadowed. It wants us to strengthen our friendship, creating a supportive network that uplifts and inspires. We can find ourselves drawn to friends who appreciate our unique qualities, creating a sense of belonging or adding to our sense of belonging and acceptance. because our validation should mostly come from within, right? Negatively, there can be competition and rivalry in our friendships, causing unnecessary tension and problems. Our friends may feel inadequate or threatened by each other's success, highlighting the need for open communication and empathy. And without authenticity, friendships may feel superficial, making it important to seek deeper, more meaningful relationships. In terms of committed couples, positively, Chiron in Aries can lead to a healthier balance between togetherness and individuality, ensuring both partners have space to grow and thrive. It offers opportunities to heal emotional wounds within the relationship, creating a deeper, more intimate connection. You and your partner may find yourselves growing together, supporting each other's personal and collective evolution, but negatively, one partner may feel neglected or smothered, leading to conflicts around the need for personal space and individuality. Old wounds within the relationship might come up, requiring honest communication and a willingness to forgive and move forward. And, there can be power struggles and competitions for control, emphasizing the need for mutual respect and cooperation. In terms of hookup relationships, it encourages us to be our authentic self in casual relationships, expressing our desires and boundaries clearly. It wants us to heal through being intimate, as it brings healing through intimate connections, helping us to release past traumas and fears around sex and vulnerability. We can feel more empowered to make choices that align with our desires, creating confidence and self-worth. But negatively, the Aries energy may amplify a fear of vulnerability and intimacy, making it challenging to form deeper connections. Without authenticity, hookup relationships may feel shallow or unfulfilling, highlighting the need for genuine connections. Some of you may figure that you're done with hookups right now. We might act impulsively in casual relationships, leading to situations that don't align with our true desires or values. For those who are single and self-partnered, Chiron in Aries is a powerful time for self-healing and self-love. It's an opportunity to focus on our personal growth and inner worth. It encourages us to embrace solitude as a time for reflection and self-care, creating a deeper connection with yourself. We may gain clarity on what we truly desire in a relationship, helping us prepare for future relationships with a sense of purpose and confidence. Negatively, feelings of loneliness or dissatisfaction with being single can, just make us feel like no one loves us and all the rest of it. So it's important for self-compassion and understanding. Unresolved wounds around self-worth or past relationships might come up, making it important to confront them through self-reflection and healing. And we may fear being single, fears or insecurities about being single can just mess with our self-worth and sense of self right now. So if these do come up, just be gentle with yourself. Find the tools to help you healthily move through these feelings, So in terms of our career development, it wants us to confront past wounds related to feeling undervalued or stagnant. It inspires us to take courageous steps towards independence and go after a path that allows more freedom and autonomy, not being afraid to start that side hustle or do the career you always wanted to do. Negatively, our fears of failure or inadequacy may come up and get in the way of progress. So it's a chance to redefine our career trajectory path, with confidence and initiative. In terms of personal development, it's all about focusing on building self-esteem and connecting with your inner child and your inner self, and having self-reflection around your self-esteem and doubt issues, pushing us to overcome feelings of inadequacy and supporting us to grow, But negatively, we can become competitive or self-focused, which can cause a strain on relationships. Use this time to nurture your confidence and emotional resilience in healthy ways. In terms of our spiritual development, it wants us to work on building our inner strength and purpose, and doing the things that help us align with our highest potential. But while this can be empowering, avoid becoming too self-reliant, and remember the value of community and shared spiritual practices. But for some of you, you may have to go solo for a bit, because there is a part of the spiritual journey where we do need to spend time alone, but balance is also key, letting the right people in. And remember, the ultimate goal of spirituality is taking sovereign over your own life by forging a strong connection, building a strong connection with your higher self and your higher power. In terms of your educational development, it wants you to take charge of your learning, and it inspires proactive learning through independent studies. But self-doubt or comparing yourself to peers or others could arise, affecting academic performance. Use this as an opportunity to take charge of your educational journey with a new confidence, and know that we all learn at our own pace, so don't compare yourself to others. So in terms of self-partner development, be open to solitude, as Chiron in Aries can deepen self-love and personal growth. It's a time to enjoy solitude and prioritise self-care. However, be mindful not to isolate yourself. Balance self-focus with connections that nourish your soul. So now I'm just going to finish up with the best things to do and questions to ask yourself when Chiron is in Aries. So if you're creative, do creative activities like journaling, painting or music to express and heal from past wounds. Art therapy can be used as a tool for self-reflection and healing, allowing your creativity to guide you through challenging emotions. Work with others that you trust on creative projects to create mutual support, increasing your creative process. Professionals, focus on establishing healthy boundaries in your career to protect your energy and time. Reflect on your professional identity and consider how it aligns with your true self. Participate in workshops or mentoring programs to develop leadership skills and heal any wounds related to authority and having authority or using your authority. Entrepreneurs, engage in activities that build confidence and reduce fear of failure, such as public speaking or networking. Develop a clear business strategy to help you take calculated risks and avoid impulsive decisions. Seek guidance from experienced mentors to navigate challenges and gain valuable insights. Alternative healers, prioritize self-care to maintain your own healing and well-being. Experiment with different healing techniques to expand your practice and deepen your connection to your craft. Use energy healing practices like Reiki, Tai Chi and yoga and meditation to clear and balance your energy. Lovers, practice open and honest communication with your partner to confront and heal relationship wounds. Consider therapy to work through challenges and strengthen your bond, your connection. Do activities that create emotional and physical intimacy, such as couples yoga or shared hobbies. For singles and self-partnered, focus on self-care and self-love. Be open to independence and individuality. Enjoy solo hobbies and activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Celebrate your self-partnership. Use this time for introspection, self-reflection and personal development, aligning with your true desires and self. So now I'm just going to talk about the questions that you can ask yourself about the different areas of your life. So in terms of your financial needs, ask yourself, do I feel worthy of financial abundance? If not, why not? Reflect on any deep-seated beliefs that may be limiting your financial success. Ask yourself, am I holding on to fears about not having enough? If so, why? Confront these fears and work on building a positive mindset around money. Reflect on how past financial struggles have shaped your current beliefs and behaviours. How can you release these patterns and create a healthier relationship with money? In terms of your emotional needs, ask yourself, am I being kind to myself myself, especially when I make mistakes. If not, why not? What's the root cause of that? Practice self-compassion and remind yourself that it's okay to be human. You can ask yourself, am I seeking too much validation from others, and how can I build my self-worth so I can get validation from within? Ask yourself, am I taking responsibility for emotional healing and engage in practices that nurture your emotional well-being? In terms of your spiritual needs, ask yourself, do I feel connected to a higher power of the universe? If not, explore ways to reignite this connection. You can ask yourself, am I neglecting my spiritual practices? Make time for meditation, prayer, or other spiritual activities that bring you peace and balance. Reflect on, are you living in alignment with your true purpose? If not, what steps can you take to realign with your spiritual path? In terms of your psychological needs, ask, how do I see myself? Am I holding on to a negative self-talk or self-image issues? If so, how can I work on building a positive and compassionate self-view? Ask yourself, are you still holding on to past hurts that affect your confidence? Reflect on how these experiences have shaped you and how you can release their hold. Reflect on, your boundaries. Are you setting healthy boundaries and taking care of your mental, spiritual and emotional health? If not, why not? How can you prioritize self-care and support if needed? In terms of your physical needs, ask yourself, am I engaging in regular physical activity that brings me joy and keeps me healthy? Find exercises that you enjoy and make them part of your routine. Consider, am I nourishing my body with healthy foods and getting enough rest? Prioritize your physical well-being to support your overall health. Ask yourself, am I experiencing any physical symptoms that may be related to unhealed emotional wounds? Confront these symptoms and seek healing practices that integrate body and mind, So, this is a powerful time of self-reflection and healing. And transit Chiron in Aries presents a duality of healing through action and the potential for impulsive decisions as well, So while it offers opportunities for growth and empowerment, it also carries risks that require mindful navigation. So practically, we can engage in spiritual practices and seek divine or guidance from our higher self through meditation, prayer and other things. We should practice empathy and compassion to others and ourselves, look into creative healing and stay grounded and set healthy boundaries. And by balancing proactive approaches with thoughtful consideration is key. By using the positive aspects of this transit, it's a powerful placement for healing, growth and being open to ourselves and staying true to ourselves, and it offers opportunities for courage, compassion and creativity. It also presents challenges like the fear of vulnerability and resistance to change, but by facing your wounds and being open to your true nature, you can move forward with confidence and purpose, So that's the end of this very in-depth special on all things Chiron in Pisces and what to do. Take care and see you next time.